and welcome back to my channel. So I know last month it was kind of a bummer I didn't have a real plan with me, so I am back with a full April plan with me for this month. So let's dive in. So as always, I'm gonna just take my bullet journal out of here because it's easier when I am setting up spreads. Move my cover over there. So let's take a quick peek at, what are we up to? March, literally March. I feel so weird because we didn't actually do like a real plan with me for March. So I'm like, oh yeah, it should be February. Anyway, so March, I will say for like a quick setup, it has been going really well. I've been noticing the last, I know this past month, and I feel like maybe last month, I also had, no, it was fine. So one of the weird things with this whole like color scheme that I have and the fact that I now use gel pens when I write for the most part in like my monthly log and like all of those is that I'm starting to get more transfer. I don't know how like visible this is going to be for you guys, but I have like this copper transfer right there where it like went over my quote, which kind of a bummer, but that's kind of something that happens with gel pens, I think more than with other pens. But anyway, so intro page as is, I have my log and tasks. So I'm currently filming this on Wednesday the 20th. I'm hoping to get this up for this weekend. So I've still got, what, like a week and a half left in March, but things are going pretty well. You'll notice that I don't have my normal color code over here. And that's because it didn't really seem necessary, since usually in the mornings when I'm looking at my schedule, I either have my Google Calendar, which is color coded and time blocked, or I also can look at my PROJO with time blocking, which I'll show you guys in there. So I honestly just kind of simplified my log in here. My notes tend to be more personal related, whereas the notes in my monthly log and my PROJO are going to be a little bit more project related. Again, I'll show you guys that in a sec. So tasks, we're working on it. I've done one and a bit. We're working on it. Tracker, let's move, oops. Move this out of the way. So the tracker has been going well. I'm doing better up here, still not quite as much as I would like. I mean, granted, this section is never going to be fully filled in because it's a weekly thing, not a daily thing, but this is kind of the area that I most still need to work on. The rest of it honestly has been going pretty well. I only have a couple of days that like straight up missed my evening skin routine, so I think it's definitely coming along. Obviously the review will get filled out at the end of the month, but I've already hit my reading goal for the month, which is awesome. I'm still gonna try and get in maybe another book or two. We'll see how that goes, but I am pretty psyched that so far I'm pretty much on track for this year. Then gratitude and brain dump. So this, again, I still have another week and a half left or so. I will probably have a fair amount of space left at the bottom over here, but that's okay. Then the brain dump. So in my last plan with me, I wasn't sure what I was gonna do because I hadn't done like anything on this brain dump. And I just sort of automatically set it up and I was like, well, let's see how it's gonna go. So basically I put a tab on my February brain dump. I have filled in a little, like tiny bit, 1 and like a half tasks. And I've got one thing done on this one. I think honestly what I'm gonna do is for April, I'm going to migrate everything on here and go through and say like, okay, is there anything that's irrelevant or whatever, and just have it now then all be on one brain dump and work on it there. Yeah, again, the brain dump thing has kind of been, these are sort of the things that haven't gotten planned in my PROJO, for example. Also, I apologize for this lighting. I have a shadow coming from my balcony windows, even with my lighting up here on, so hopefully it's not too bad. Hopefully you guys can still see stuff. Anyway, so then it jumps right into daily. So I am still going strong with the no weekly thing, and honestly, it's been really nice. I feel like it saved me time. I feel like with the work that I do sort of at the end of the previous week for the following week in terms of like trying to start setting up time blocking, looking through what I've got going on in my PROJO, this just really helps me focus on like, this is what I need to do this day and nothing else. I don't get as overwhelmed by all the things I could be doing when I'm in my bullet journal. If I have extra time and I want to work on something else, and obviously I have the places I know I can look, but just it kind of keeps it a little bit more sane in here. And you'll notice that overall, I migrate fewer things. So like I have 3 days where I didn't migrate a single thing. This, I have 2 days where I migrated a total of 4 things. Like I feel like it's definitely getting to where I'm getting better about knowing what I can get done in a day. Not always, but like for the most part, I feel like I'm making progress. So you'll see here, I have, so this actually, there's a bit of a snafu here. I was trying to hook up gas, whole long story. It didn't go super well, and so I basically had my windows open for 2 hours on a really rainy day, and it just kind of threw off my entire day. So that's why I have a lot more stuff that got migrated there. Then again, I have my mini collection for batch cooking Sunday, and actually that worked out really well because I don't need a ton of space and I still had enough room to do some journaling. You'll see here, you know, the beginning of the week I was super busy, and so I just didn't take up a ton of space, and I got 4 days on 1 page. Like it kind of depends. So this was this past weekend, and I actually did, because I had a lot of things going on, like things were kind of crazy with work. So I just sat down, I said, all right, what are kind of the things that I would like to get done this weekend? And I made a big long list, and you'll see between Saturday and Sunday, I didn't actually put if it was on here, I didn't necessarily copy it over here, although I did sometimes. And I added then things that were more day specific once I got to them if I needed to. But between Saturday, Sunday, and this weekend, plus my cooking list, I had plenty to do during the weekend. I originally had thought about doing a little bit of journaling here, but was like, meh, white space is fine. We'll leave it. So then now this week, and you'll see I literally just wherever I end that daily, I start it. I do label the week just because I do use this information sometimes, really for my reading, but it just kind of helps me keep track so the days don't all blend together. It just gives me like, okay, new week, like here we go. But it also could be in the middle of the page, like it doesn't really matter. So that is for Monday, and then we have Tuesday and Wednesday. So you'll see here, I have today, I've actually done this. I did start grading, and my goal is to film 2 videos. So I'm currently filming my April plan with me, and the next step is going to be my Q2 plan with me. So those will hopefully both get filmed today so I can work on editing them. And then I also had a couple of things here that I didn't get to yesterday. You can see I got to a fair amount, but I didn't get to everything, so I just left them open. And my goal is, aside from filming, literally these 2 are the same here. It's just really imperative that I actually get them done. So if I finish them on today, I'll just cross them off for tomorrow as well. So between stuff that's on kind of the same page or the same spread, I don't necessarily migrate it, just because if I can get it done another day, it still got done, even if it wasn't technically done on the day that I wrote it down. So anyway, we're up to date with that. So this is the end of what I've got in my bullet journal for March. I mean, you can see it was super, super short. I mean, maybe like 10, 12 pages. I don't even know. Part of the reason is because I have been using my PROJO so much. So let's take a look at March in my PROJO, and then we will get going. So here we've got March. So I have split off this section here for YouTube so that I could kind of readjust things as needed. I don't tend to need the entire space here to do my logs, so I don't see any reason to not set it up this way next month. I cross off the days here, and I just make a couple of little notes. I try to keep it more towards, you know, did I do stuff for work, for social media, like project-y related stuff. It tends to be more like things I did rather than how I was feeling that day, for example, which is sometimes what gets put on my monthly log in my bullet journal. So this one going along well. I've got my 3 key projects for the month. You can see that I've done pretty well on YouTube. I've actually I had filmed maybe 2 weeks ago, 6 videos, and I'm actually hopefully gonna film another 2 today. So like definitely working really well on this. I have made a little bit of headway on admin stuff, just it's been a little crazy with work, so that hasn't quite gotten done. And because of how my schedule has changed, I now have 4 days out of 5 that I go in at 8 a.m., which means that my morning routine where I usually would work on things like my font making hasn't really been happening as much as I would have liked. So unfortunately, a fair amount of this stuff is actually going to get migrated probably to April, but it is what it is. Sometimes stuff happens. Then I have this, just other things, like general things that I want to work on. I'm hoping in the next week or 2 I might be able to get some of this stuff done, but if not, it is what it is. We'll work on it in April. Then back here I have my work-related stuff, so grading, getting ready for the next round of grades, and then planning new units and stuff. I'm definitely making some headway, but definitely a lot more work that I need to do on that. But I do like having this one page that every week I don't have to keep migrating things that I'm like, I just didn't get to it this week. Like, oh well, it's on here. I don't necessarily need to migrate if I don't think I'm gonna be able to get to it this coming week anyway. So I will do the monthly reflection later. I still have a week and a half left in March, so there's no point in doing it yet because we're not done. So let's take a peek at my weeklies. So one sec, how many do we have? So here, this is the end of February, the beginning of March. And let's see, you'll see like things are going pretty well. I have a bit that I had migrated the next week. I had a couple things migrated over here. You'll notice a lot less whiteout on here because I've started doing where I put in brown, anything that's like a set thing. But then after that, I basically keep up with my calendar on Google Calendar, especially when I'm at home. It's easy enough for me to just like move things around. And then at the end of the day or a few days later, I fill it up in here so that I can look at it. But I tend to only look at this in terms of appointments and like where I have free time for that. But all of the like nitty gritty moving around of time blocking, I tend to do in Google Calendar because it's just easier. Then we've got last week. I did have a couple of things because things got moved around a bit with work. So there's a little bit of whiteout on there. A bit more of things that I had to migrate, but overall, I'm still making decent headway each week. It feels just certain things get pushed off periodically, but you know, that's the way it goes. Then, whoops, here we go. So this is kind of what my weekly looks like while I'm actually using it. You'll see today's Wednesday the 20th. So I actually, this morning, I had a little bit of time, so I went ahead and I filled in yesterday and Monday so that I had those kind of up to date. But you'll see here, I actually haven't filled anything in for the rest of the week. I've even penciled in. These are 2 appointment-y things I want to go to, but depending on how work goes and stuff, they're not like set in stone yet, so I've just penciled them in. So this is a lot more empty looking than my Google Calendar actually looks right now because I have actually planned out certain things that I want to work on at certain times, but because it can be subject to change, I don't fill it out in here until it's done. It's basically, this is a log of what I did, so if I don't want to look back digitally, I can just flip back through my PROJO and see how I spent my time. Then you can see here that I have my work admin and literally didn't even write in the title there, whoops. So this is social media, YouTube, whatever you want to label it. And yeah, we're working on it. Haven't gotten a ton of stuff done, but I also, you can see I've been trying this week especially to not have a ton of extra things over here just because I'm so behind on some of this stuff that I've had to migrate it a few weeks that I really want to focus on this before I start adding more stuff over here. So I do have this next week, so I do have one more full week in March left, so I've got this in here, but I actually have not set up after that because I will be moving into my Q2 PROJO, so no sense in setting that up since I'm planning on setting it up today, and I can just flip back and forth between 2 P books for a little while if I need to. It's not a huge deal. These tend to stay at home, so I can just leave them both on my desk for until the end of the month essentially. So the other thing I want to show you is part of the reason why I don't have any big collections going on in my bullet journal is because I have been using my end book as kind of a brainstorming place. So some of this you guys have already seen. I know you've seen at least up through my March ideas, my March plan with me. Oops, so let's see, where are we? So here, this was my March plan with me ideas, and then this was a sketch for in my bedroom. I started doing some Q2 ideas, so I've actually bookmarked this because this is hopefully going to be the video I film next, so we'll leave that there. And then this was some planning out for some ideas for some fonts I want to make. This is actually all planning for my teacher bujo for next year, which you guys will get a video on, have no fear. And then I've got April. So you'll see I actually don't have a ton of collections going on right now, but any of the big projects I have, I actually have the collections kind of in here. I will be traveling during my April holidays, so I will probably end up having a trip travel collection in my bullet journal at that point. But for now, it's just kind of been like work and doing stuff at home, so I haven't needed any collections, which is why my March in my bullet journal seems so short. So now let's take a look at my April pre-planning. Oh my gosh, I'm having a hard time saying April pre-planning. Got it. So I decided that I was going to go Easter because, you know, I very rarely do crazy colors, and I was like, you know what, we're gonna go with it. Like, why not? So I went a little overboard, and I have 4 colors for the month. Now, I have no idea if eventually I'm going to like whittle it down to fewer. We'll see. You guys know I tend to pick out more things and then I use less as time goes on. We'll see how it works. So I have 451, 025, 723, and 603. So I thought these were some pretty good like Easter egg color sort of things. And then I had also written in here maybe using my copper pen, but given the amount of transfer I got from my March intro page, I might not do that, and I might just stick with my Easter explosion, which is what I am officially calling this. Then I've also picked out a quote, and this was one that I really liked for no particular reason. I know that last month I did one that was more about like planning and stuff, and this one I just kind of liked. So it was a bright cold day in April and the clocks were striking 13 in George Orwell, 1984. And part of the reason why I like this is my favorite number is 13. So that makes probably a little bit more sense. And the only other changes I had, like everything is gonna stay the same. My tracker, I wrote down that there's 30 days in April, so I don't accidentally write out 31. I'm keeping the exact same stuff as March because I wanna see how doing it for a second month works. I wrote down that I wanted to keep my brain dump, but that I would transfer February and March so that I could just refer to one brain dump. But then that's like it. There was really no other stuff that I needed to set up. And since the PROJO is actually kind of already pre-set up, all I have to do is write in the month at the top. I'm actually not going to set up April in my PROJO on here. I'm actually gonna wait until I do my quarter 2 setup. So we're just gonna check out how it's gonna go in my bullet journal. So what I did, oops, and hold on, let's put bookmarks back in their homes so I don't get confused. There we go. So what I did is, I kind of went through how much space I used for March, and I've been averaging like 2 to 3 pages per week, give or take. So because I have this week, I've already got Wednesday here. I think I might be able to fit Thursday there. We'll see. I gave myself the rest of this spread plus 2 more full spreads, and I think that's going to be plenty of room, possibly even a little bit too much, but if I have extra space then I'll just do something with lettering, or I don't know what yet. But I figured 2 full spreads I should be good for how things have been going. That should be enough to get me through the end of the month. So that means that the next page is, let's make sure I didn't accidentally skip another. So the next is just a little sticky note to mark the beginning of April. And I have done a couple of little pencil marks for my monthly log so I know how many days, and actually, I think I did that right. Hold on. Let's confirm, because March was 31 days, so it should be 1 shorter. Yes, it is. Excellent. So then I also did the outline for my tracker, because that's the other one that's like kind of a lot of moving parts and I don't want to accidentally miscount. And then I'll just have gratitude and brain dump, and I did a line for where I'm going to draw my main line here for when I do my Alistair columns over here. And that's going to be the setup. It's going to be pretty much the same as the past couple of months actually. So I am going to go ahead and time lapse you guys, and I will come back at the end and show you guys how it all turned out. Okay guys, so I think this might be the most psychedelic color combination that I personally have ever done, and I kind of love it. I might go back to monochrome after this month, but at least for now, I'm kind of living for this color combo. So you'll see that I did not center my quote at all. I literally just kind of went in, and I did, when I did my pre-planning, I did already like split out which lines I wanted things to be on, and I knew I was going to accentuate certain words. I didn't really know how though until I actually got in here, and I was like, oh, well, I have, you know, a yellow pen for bright and a blue pen for cold, like let's kind of run with this. Also, I love how this 13 came out. I just think it looks really cute. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased how that came out. And then I did a little bit of shadowing over here. My April's a bit messy. I do basically kind of the left side, and I know with certain things it should be over or under the line, but it is kind of what it is. And then the 2019 I did because this blue is really, really pale, and so I wanted to make it stand out a little bit more. So the yellow doesn't actually touch the blue. It's kind of like a hovering sort of situation, if you can see. There we go. But I think it just makes the 2019 stand out a little bit more, so it's a little bit more legible. Then I have my monthly log. I did actually write 2019 here, but it's that blue, and as you can see, like the blue just by itself is really hard to see, but I don't really need it because I've got it on my intro page, so it's just, I like to write the year in there just for me, I don't know, it's just habit. So I have my week separations in this really pale blue, so I can kind of look at, like, you know, I can kind of split apart my weeks, but it fades into the background, which is kind of nice. And then I just did a little bit on this April, I just did one line to the left. I picked basically one straight line and did that. I didn't do the entire sort of like shading effect. It was literally just a line. And then on the May, I did do the shading effect where I didn't touch it because I did that blue-yellow combination again. And then tasks, just kind of alternated with all the colors. So I will probably do something similar to what I did for March, where at the end of the month, I'll go through and see what I've got open. I had 8 for March. I'm not sure how many I'm gonna have for April. We're gonna kind of see how the rest of this month pans out. Also, I will be traveling for basically this section of the month, so I might not have as much time to get through as many tasks. Whereas in March, I was here the entire time, so I thought I might have more time to do stuff. So we'll see how that pans out. I will fill this in once I do my sort of end of the month migration and all of that fun stuff. Then I have my tracker. Whoops, little eraser shaving. So I've got my tracker over here. I do still have my same things. I actually just realized I forgot to fill those in, but they literally have not changed. They are just my keys here. So they're just my different keys. So any of the skincare products I use, I have a little like letter code for them. And then any of my other stuff over here. So, you know, if I write down TV, it's how many hours. Dishes means like when I have dishes over here, it means that the sink needs to be empty by the time I go to bed. So this is literally just gonna stay the same. It's just my key. I forgot to actually transfer it over, but I will. But as you can see here, the things I am tracking have not changed from last month. So basically on the week level, I have, you know, changing sheets, sponge, like the kitchen sponge, towels, cleaning the apartment, and exercising. In the morning, I have breathe, which is one of the things that I do with the like meditation app I use. They have meditation and breathing. So in the morning, I tend to do breathing, and at night, I do meditation. Then have I taken my medication? Have I done my skincare? Have I done my lines a day? In the evening, I've got this sort of double section. So I have basically, did I meditate? Did I watch TV? Did I do the dishes? And did I floss? And then this is all of my evening skincare routine, so I kind of know what I did at any given point in time. It's really nice to go through and see sort of the patterns, the things that I really do every single day, the products I tend to reach for more frequently. I just kind of like seeing that. Whereas in the morning, I tend to do the same things over and over just because I've got it like down to a rhythm. Whereas in the evening, I'm gonna sometimes take a little bit more time. I'll do more like masks once in a while. Like it's more subject to change than in the morning, which is why the morning gets 1 line and the evening gets 9. Basically, but you know, I don't fill in every single line every time. And reading is just the same as always. So I wrote in blue, so it's really hard to see on camera, but goal 5 books, and did I meet that goal? So I will fill this in as always. Then gratitude and brain dump. And like I said, I'm planning to transfer anything that's an open task from my February and March brain dumps over here. If there's anything that's obsolete that I no longer need to do, then I won't transfer that, but just to kind of have everything on one, because I would then be spanning like 3 months worth of brain dumps. And again, this is one that for now I'm keeping just because I have some things that are living on there that I don't really know where else to put yet. But at some point, if I get to a point where I really am not using it, then I will drop doing this brain dump. It just is still somewhat useful for the moment, so I'm keeping it. Gratitude, I will probably do the same way I've been doing it. At some point I might change it up. Just I like to give it a little bit of a change up periodically just so it doesn't start feeling repetitive or boring. But for now, I really like, I don't know, I like taking the time in the morning to write my little sentence. So once again, I have my page here. So that is April. This month was super simple, all things considered. I feel like it was a pretty quick one. I probably had a lot of chatting at the beginning, but the time lapse is probably gonna have been pretty short. But I like how it came out. Yeah, things like, honestly, the setup has been working, which is why I haven't done a ton of changes with it. You know me, like I'm a creature of habit. As long as something works, there's no reason for me to change it. And for right now, this has been working, so let's keep it. I will say that one thing you might have noticed, maybe you have, maybe you haven't, but one thing I will point out is that I have not been doing my color code colors on the side of the pages, mostly because when this book is closed, the sides of the pages are actually black. And so it seems sort of weird to try and like color a much lighter color over that. So right now I'm actually just leaving these, I'm actually not doing my color code over here. I am, however, doing my little code next to my monthly. I do actually have sort of the main color code. Now this month, I have no idea what my main color is, so I'm not even sure how I'm gonna do this. And you know, most months I actually have 2 colors, but I kind of pick one to be the main one. I really shouldn't, I really should probably put all of them in there. But anyway, so that's just, if you guys were wondering what happened to color coding the sides of the pages, I stopped simply because this particular version of the official bullet journal has those like shaded pages already, and I thought it would just be really hard to see, so I just decided to not do it. Anyway, that is all I have for you guys today. Stay tuned for my Q2 PROJO plan with me, so you guys will see how I set up April in there and how I'm setting up in the new PROJO, but this is April in my bullet journal. If you guys have any comments or questions, let me know down below. Otherwise, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye. Hey guys, so if you've made it all the way to the end of this video and are actually watching my end screen and you're not subscribed to my channel, I would really appreciate it if you would. There's a little button right there for you to do it. And if you're interested in watching some more of my videos, I have links to 2 of my older videos off to the left there, so you can check those out if you would like to, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.